Welcome to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with Rebecca Hall-Greider. In our program each week, we provide the tools, ideas, and encouragement to help you move ahead on your journey, becoming a more powerful and impactful woman in your own life. Now here's your host, Rebecca Hall-Greider.
Welcome, everyone. I hope that you're having an amazing day. Honored and excited to be connecting in with you as we take a moment to slow down, become fully present so that we can connect in and pour into you. And today's subject I'm really excited about because I feel like as a society and globally and in our personal relationships, in our communities, in our families, in our work relationships, we're facing a lot of things that we haven't faced before. With the pandemic, there were some powerful shifts that happened that we had to shift how we do things, how we connect. And now a lot of that has continued and it's profoundly shifted how we're doing business, how we are teaching, how we are leading, how we are connecting. We've had to find additional ways and add that to what we do on a daily basis. And we've had crises that we've had to navigate through, and sometimes in some of these uncharted waters that we are in. And so I'm very excited to have a show today where we're talking about crisis management and how to really navigate those waters when we're faced with urgent situations. How do we navigate that? How do we keep moving forward in an empowered, purposeful, mindful way? Our amazing guests today specialize in this, and they're actually coming together. They are releasing a book that I'm going to let them share a little bit about that's coming out very soon. So you'll want to have your notepad ready to write down the date and name and all of those details. But I'm excited to have them here. I feel like it's so timely that we expand our toolbox, we expand our skill set around navigating challenging situations and crisis management. What sort of tools do we have in our toolbox that we can tap into and use and can support us on our journey? It's really important that we're resilient, that we're building those skills, that we're able to still bring forward those things that matter most to us, no matter what may come our way. And I know our guests today are going to pour into us, share insight, wisdom, and new ways that we can look at things, practices we can build into our life to support us. So lean in. It's going to be an amazing time together today. I know you're going to get a lot of value. But to get the most value, it's important to choose to be fully present. So let's take a breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Beautiful. Take another breath all the way to your toes. Beautiful. And as you're breathing, taking in this oxygen, it brings oxygen and needed support to all the cells in your body. It actually helps slow us down a little bit, lower our cortisol levels, our stress levels, release what no longer serves, bring in what does. Breath is so powerful, and we can be mindful and purposeful about it. So as you're breathing and expanding and creating space for all that you are leaning into today, I encourage you to put one hand on your heart, one hand on your head, to remind you to bring all of you in, mind, body, soul, and spirit. Close your eyes. You're absolutely safe. And just take a moment to think about, what do you need today? What will encourage you, empower you, expand your toolbox? What do you need today to support you to step forward in a mindful, powerful, and purposeful way? What do you need? Just feel in. Receive that information, and I'm going to add another layer to this. So what is it that you need that you are willing to receive? Please note, I'm not asking how. I'm just asking to identify what it is you need and are willing to receive. Sometimes that shifts the information a little bit. Great. So receive that information. Let's take a breath. Come back into the room, fully present, and take a moment to write down what was laid on your heart, what it is that you need and are willing to receive. I want you to write it down. That starts to bring it into reality, co-creates it. The writing action brings it forward and actually connects your heart and your hand, your thoughts and your heart, and what's true for you, your truth. Helps connect all of that. And it helps us be able to glance down at the paper or wherever you wrote it to keep it top of mind so you're not getting distracted and missing the answer that could be right in front of you. And I clearly shared that we're not identifying how. We're not going to the how. You don't have to figure out the how. You're just identifying what it is you need, because you get to be surprised at the wonderful and unexpected way this need will be met that you never saw coming. You just get to be open, willing, and ready to receive, unattached to how. And keeping it on that page top of mind means you're on the lookout for it, to see the wonderful way this comes forward. Beautiful. We're going to go around our virtual room, and as I do so, I'm going to invite each of our guests to just share what was laid on their heart when they took a moment to stop, pause, and listen, just a short share of 15, 20 seconds of what came to them as they took a moment to slow down and listen. It's interesting the insights we have when we remember to slow down and listen to what's being spoken and shared with us. So with that, I would like to start with Dr. Marilyn. What was laid on your heart?
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
My heart was, yes, you can. You can do this, and you've got this. And this may be the moment that you've been created for, so don't stop now. Keep moving forward.
Oh, so beautiful, that reminder. Yes, you can, and the time is now. I love it. Thank you. Beautiful. How about you, Dr. Sharon? What was laid on your heart?
What was laid on my heart was just a focus. Keep the big picture in mind. Don't be boggled down by the details.
Beautiful. Keeping the focus. Beautiful. Not worrying about the details. I love it. Dr. Cheryl, how about you?
Confirmation that I'm moving forward in the right direction and encouragement so that I don't get caught up in the doubt and the hesitation. Just know that I got this.
Beautiful. That confirmation that you're headed in the right direction and releasing the doubts, the fears that can sometimes uncertainty can bring. So I love that confirmation. Thank you so much for sharing. How about you listeners? What was laid on your heart? Perhaps something one of our guests shared is already expanding and touching on some of what was laid on your heart. As we get ready to go to our first commercial break, I want to encourage you to be present, to resist the urge to go run around and cross things off the to-do list and get distracted. Stay present. Give yourself the gift of these 2 minutes to receive, to listen to all that is speaking to your heart and to your spirit. Sometimes we're moving so fast, we're not listening. So I encourage you to listen and feel and take in all that is here for you. And we will continue our conversation in just 2 minutes.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
You have the power to be stronger, live fearlessly, and enjoy the benefits of a great life. Listen for Fearlessly Authentic with host Jody Harrison Bauer. Jody has proven at an age when many start to slow down that she is just getting started. With 2 grown daughters, a successful business that she started at 50, a finalist in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, and a 2-time world bikini champion, she's ready to take you to the next level in your life. Fearlessly Authentic airs Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific on Voice America Empowerment. Rebecca Hall-Greider's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That's SpeakerTalentSearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall-Greider. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that moment to just be. Pause. Breathe. So often we're caught up in the doing. I find when I have those moments, even if it's 1 minute, 2 minutes, where I mindfully stop, breathe, move my shoulders, just be in my body for a moment and I listen, it can powerfully ground me and shift me to be who and how I want to be moment to moment. So the day isn't running me, but I'm getting to choose mindfully, powerfully, purposely how I want to be, how I choose to be, and what I bring forward. So I hope that these 2 minutes at a time, those pauses, those commercial breaks are supportive of you. And I encourage you throughout the show to use them as an opportunity to slow down, to integrate, breathe in what is being shared. So it doesn't get added to your to-do list, but it actually becomes part of who you are. They're able to process and integrate and then move forward with all that serves. So welcome back. We are talking about crisis management and how do we expand our toolbox, build our resilience? How do we navigate uncharted waters, especially when there's an urgency to it? There's something that we need to manage and do. How do we do that in a way that we're staying empowered, we're staying purposeful, we're moving forward those things that matter most to you? We have amazing experts we're talking with today, and I'm honored to introduce our first guest. You got to hear from her on a heart level, and now I want to share a little bit of her background. So Dr. Cheryl Lentz, the academic entrepreneur, is known globally for her writings on leadership, critical thinking, and refractive thinking. She has been published more than 43 times with over 22 awards. She's an accomplished university professor, speaker, and consultant. #1 international best-selling author, award-winning compiler and publisher, and she has been quoted as a top professional in publishing on ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox. She is passionate about helping you fail faster so you can succeed sooner. Please lean in and warmly welcome the powerful and dynamic Dr. Cheryl Lentz to the show. Welcome!
Charge out of that introduction, Rebecca. Thank you so very much. Always an honor to be with you. And interesting topic, particularly with regard to timing, isn't it?
It is. The timing is perfect. So I love it when all of that lines up. Welcome. We're just thrilled to have you joining us today. And I'd love for you to share two things. So first, I'd love for you to share this concept. I know you even did a TED Talk on this recently, I believe, about failure. Do you mind sharing a little bit about why that is something that's near and dear to your heart and so important to you?
Exactly. The TED Talk was last October, and I find it very ironic that I have suddenly become thrust into the spotlight doing all kinds of talks around the world on being the queen of failure, because I have failed in every aspect of my life, bar none, and it's one of those go big or go home. But the true lesson here is to keep showing up. Failure tends to take a lot of people out of the game. And my result is the exact opposite. I want to be able to fail as fast as I can. I want to get it out of my system, because that is the idea of learning. And most of us, when we look at a burning building, we run away. And I'm not suggesting you want to be a firefighter to be able to run toward a burning building, but I don't want you to run away from what could be the greatest gift. And yes, I said gift. The idea of this F word really annoys a lot of people, thinking that somehow there's something wrong with them, and there isn't. Failure could be your greatest triumph that you just haven't seen yet, and it's an amazing gift if we can look at it that way.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, and I can hear your passion, your conviction, and I love that we shared, and we just did a little highlight of some of your accomplishments, so many successes, but part of that is because of how you embrace failure, and you get up and you keep showing up and you keep moving forward, and you actually want to fail faster so you can succeed sooner, and I just love how you embody that, you walk the talk, and you keep showing up and shining powerfully and beautifully. And it's such an example for all of us. So thank you for being you and your willingness to keep rising up. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's not easy. And I think that's what a lot of people think, that they look at what I've done and they're like, oh, but you make it look so easy. It's not. It's a choice. And that choice means sometimes you have to dig really, really deep to get through, because I still experience the same bitterness, the same pain, the same tears, the same frustration. I just don't let it typically stop me, at least not for long. It might kind of slow me down a little bit. It's going to be a little painful, but I keep showing up, because we've got to get up one more time that we get knocked down. And COVID and the pandemic has really struggled with us doing that. And that's part of why we chose to do a book on crisis managers, is to give people those techniques of what do we do, because it makes it sound easy to tell them to do something, but I want to give you the tricks and how to do it so that you really can bloom and shine.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, and I love you're leading right into my next question about your anthology. So, one, can you share? You shared a little bit about why and the timing and why it was on your heart to bring this forward with all that we have faced. That this is the time that you're called to really help support people, and you're doing it in an anthology format, which is where multiple authors come together to share their wisdom and expertise. And the anthologies you lead are very special, and who you bring forward, who gets to participate, and the type of information that's shared. So, do you mind sharing a little bit about what makes the Refractive Thinker anthology so special for readers that are thinking about books they want to add to their library, and a little bit more about the focus of this particular one?
Absolutely. This series started as a response to, that's the way we've always done it in academia. I was looking towards, as a doctoral scholar myself, as an academic who's been a professor more than 21 years with, almost 100 graduates now, we're looking at the ability that a lot of research gets stuck in academia. We do 4 years, 5 years, longer than that to create this wonderful dissertation, and very few people read it. Because one of my students graduates 676 pages. We're not willing to go to that extent. So when we do an anthology, we take that executive summary. We say, what did you find? Why do we care? And how can we use it in 10 or 12 pages or less? Then I bring all of these authors together on one particular subject, such as volume 20. We have actually 22 volumes. We did one 3 times. We might do it again. But to be able to bring that to the world so we can put this highly formulaic way of doing research, but bring it to those who are not academics, who can digest it in an easier format, so you can benefit for the business owner, for the entrepreneur, for the student, to be able to look at what we've done and why we've done it and how it can benefit in a format that just is much easier. And the Refractive Thinker was born. So now 2 or 3 times a year we will correlate all of our authors and find a topic that's relevant and timely, and we'll coordinate all of the research that's just come out on those topics. We all join resources, and now we come together in one book, one ability to have a theme so that students, entrepreneurs, and business owners can see where we're going with our research and to get a little bird's eye view of how they can use it without having to go through maybe all 676 pages.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, giving us a quick snapshot of Refractive Thinker. And I just think it's so powerful, the studies, the research, the insight being brought forward for all of us in such a user-friendly, practical, powerful way. It just makes the series so powerful. Would you share a little bit of what you hope readers get out of this particular volume, and when it's launching, when it's being shared, how all of that works so they can put it on their calendar?
Absolutely. April 6th is D-Day. That is the day of the launch that we will share this magnificent addition to the Refractive Thinker family. Again, we have 23 awards just for this series, and it's amazing when your work is highlighted and sought after in the marketplace. I think the easiest answer to answer the rest of the questions, what do we want, is the title of General Casey's forward for this book. General George Casey is a 4-star Joint Chief of Staff, former general in the U.S. Army, retired. Who knows more about crisis than a general who's been managing that level of troops all over the world and in the Pentagon and leading us forward as our military works through protecting the defense of our country. And the name of his forward is called The Art of the Possible. We want to look at not just what happened, but we want to be able to share absolute strategies about various areas, whether it's the Department of the Defense, like the chapter that I co-authored with my co-authors, Dr. Miller and Dr. Jones. We also have all kinds of things from higher education to psychology to topics that are relevant in our discussion so we can give you absolute strategies. Because here's my point is I don't want you to think of this as a story. I want you to take action based on the research so you now have absolute proven strategies as part of the Refractive Thinker authors that you can go and take into your business to be profitable and to move your people forward, because we do not have time to wait. As you suggested in the first segment, now is the time. And now we've got a 4-star general leading the charge. Who better to lead crisis management?
So powerful. Thank you so much for leaning into creating this series and to bringing this volume forward at such a time as this. It is the right time. I'm so grateful for the support that you're giving us and providing in the pages of this powerful volume. So I want to make sure everybody heard April 6th is the launch day, and here's why that is super special. Because on the launch day, you're able to get this powerful book for a special rate of $1.99. You get to add this volume to your library. What an amazing opportunity. So April 6th, $1.99 for the first 24 possibly 48 hours. So we always encourage people lean in the first 24. So you're guaranteed that special rate. We're going to be promoting and sharing it out. It'll be on Amazon. So stay tuned and watch for that. We want you, especially all of you who are facing crises or will, because we will face crises if we haven't already. And what a gift to be able to add a resource that can help you navigate those waters, that can expand your toolbox so that you can navigate on purpose and with purpose for such a time as this. So, Dr. Cheryl, thank you so much for joining us today, for sharing. I hope everyone has put that on your calendar. As we get ready to go to our next commercial break, I encourage you to take these 2 minutes just for you. And as you're thinking and breathing and thinking about what is it that would help me, what do I want to add to my toolbox to help navigate crises, or how do I want to be? And I love that, what is possible. I don't know that we're always thinking of that in a crisis, thinking about what is possible, what can we do from here, what can be built. And I think that's such a powerful perspective. So we will continue our conversation in just 2 minutes.
Follow us on Twitter at VoiceAmericaTRN. Get the lowdown on guests, new shows, and your favorites. That's VoiceAmericaTRN.
Rebecca Hall Greider's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That's SpeakerTalentSearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Do you have executive function challenges? Actually, these are a lot more common than you would think. These challenges include time management issues, organization, planning, focusing, memory, and problem solving. If this sounds like you, you'll want to check out Focus on Success. With Fozzie Acosti, you'll hear from professionals that offer advice based on their expertise and provide solutions to improve your life. Focus on Success can be heard Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, noon Eastern, on Voice America Empowerment.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit EmpoweredConnectionsTV.com. That's EmpoweredConnectionsTV.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Greider. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes and reflected on what is possible. What a beautiful consideration in the middle of a crisis, taking a moment to stop, pause, and breathe and see what is possible. I think it's just, I'm adding that to my toolbox, and I hope that you're adding some great things to your toolbox as well to support you in managing crises and being able to move forward in a powerful way. Well, I'm excited to introduce our next guest, Dr. Marilyn K. Thomas. She has a doctorate in family science, is a licensed professor, counselor associate, licensed professional counselor associate, certified school counselor, administrator, family life educator, executive coach, and mediator. She's the founder of Create, a business focused on counseling, resources, education, and training. She is passionate about helping you accept change and grow with it. Please lean in and warmly welcome the powerful Dr. Marilyn K. Thomas to the show. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
You are so welcome. I'm thrilled to have you joining us, and I love this grow with it. That's another thing I'm adding to my toolbox as I was reading some of what you're so passionate about. So I'm just excited and thrilled to have you joining us. Do you mind sharing a little bit about why you're so passionate about all of us being able to accept change and grow with it? Why is that personally so important to you?
Well, I will tell you, I got on an elevator this one day, and there was a saying on the back of the wall, and it said, change is inevitable, growth is optional. And that is just so true. You can choose to grow or you can choose to crumble. And so if you choose to grow, then you're going to take the experience that you're going through, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to grow from it. But if you choose the ultimate, then you're going to crumble. And so you have options, but you can choose growth. You can choose to move forward. You can choose to do better. So,
thank you so much, because I think sometimes we forget we have options. We can get into reactionary states and feel put into a corner versus recognizing we do have options, we do have choice, and we can choose growth, that is optional. Thank you for that important reminder. And I know that you have chosen to be part of this project, part of this powerful book focused on crisis management. And I'd love for you to share a little bit about why. Why did this project call to you? Why now? And what do you hope readers get out of it?
Well, right now we are in a global pandemic, and we are in crisis, period. And everyone is experiencing several crises simultaneously. So at this point, what are you going to get out of it? We have homelessness on the rise. We have people losing jobs. So there's a lot of devastation that is going on right now. So it's important to me to tap into your resilient side and to move forward. So at this point, again, you can crumble or you can excel. So at this time, start a business, do some different things, tap into what your strengths are, turn your passion into paper so that you can be resilient and you can survive during this global crisis.
So powerful. Thank you for sharing. And again, that reminder of choices. We have choices. We can take steps. We can move things forward powerfully. Do you have a tip or a piece of advice as we're remembering that we have choice and we're tapping into some of those things, whether it's starting a new business or something else? Do you have a tip or a piece of advice of a way to slow down a little bit, pause, and take some steps on that?
I feel like that everybody should just, one, like you said, stop and breathe. Stop and breathe. That's important. I always tell myself when I'm going through it, when something happens, you have a day to process this, wallow in it, scream, cry, yell, whatever you got to do, but you cannot live there. Because if you live there, then everything around you is going to crumble and fall to pieces. So take your day. Take your day to be in crisis mode. Take your day to cry. Take your day to yell, curse, whatever you have to do. But then stop and breathe. Stop and breathe and get back up and keep moving, because that keep moving part is important. If you do not keep moving, everything around you will fall apart. So grow, breathe, get up, shake it off, come up with a plan. If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail.
Yes. Thank you so much. And I love that. Give yourself that day to release, to express whatever you need to do to process and react to what happened, but then there's a boundary around that. Don't live there. Beautiful, powerful advice. Thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate it. You've already given us so many tools now we can add to our toolbox. And remember, when we're facing crisis, not if, but when, because we will. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. And then I'm excited to introduce our next guest, Dr. Sharon Pugh. She has a doctorate in family science. She is a certified family educator and counselor who's worked in the social science education nonprofit sectors for over 10 years. She's an adjunct professor for local universities and is involved in community service projects. She specializes in working with children with disabilities, families in crisis, including domestic violence and sexual assault, and is passionate about community service. Can you please lean in and warmly welcome the powerful Dr. Sharon Pugh to the show? Welcome!
Thank you, Rebecca, for that warm introduction. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thrilled to have you joining us. And I'd love for you to share, why is the work that you do, and so much of it is in community service as well, why is that work personally so important to you?
For me, it was about not just making a difference, but being that difference. It's not enough to help people, but you also want to continue to serve people. You want people to come out from where they are and get to a better place and be stability. So that was really important to me.
Oh, that is so powerful. Say that again. It's not just about, say that phrase again. That was so good.
So it's just not about just, being a different, making a difference, but also being the difference, like being that person who brings people to a place of stability and wholeness, so they can thrive in whatever place they are in life.
Beautiful. I love that, because I think sometimes we look outside ourselves We want something to be different. We want to make a difference, but part of making that difference is being the difference. And that's just such a good reminder. So thank you for repeating that. I don't want anyone to miss that important reminder that we can be that, and that being is so important as we're moving forward. So thank you for sharing that. And then I'd love for you to share why this particular project, this anthology, called to you. Why did you lean in and say yes and participate in it? And what do you hope readers get out of it?
Crisis management is such an important topic. A lot of times a lot of people are going through it like at this moment, but some people are thriving through it. They're starting businesses, they're spending more time with families, they're coming together. And so what makes those differences? How are some people able to thrive in it and some people falter in it? So that's really what really spoke to me about coming and being a part of this endeavor.
Oh, I love that. So really looking at what is that difference? How can we then learn from that and choose to thrive in these types of circumstances? So I love that. And do you, in studying that and researching that and kind of bringing forward your findings, do you have a tip, a piece of advice that can help us navigate crisis management? How can we step forward more powerfully and purposely in those challenging times?
I'm sure. Keeping the big picture in mind. So you keep the end in mind. So what you're going through right now is not going to always be like it is now. But you got to keep those goals and that down the future, and you kind of also do that backward planning. So what you see in the future, then you work towards that. So if you want to come to a place of wholeness, of accessibility, how do you get there at that place, to that point? So that's really important.
Beautiful. I love that. So kind of looking at that big picture, where you're wanting to go, and then we can reverse engineer that even in difficult, challenging times and kind of build the path there. So powerful. Thank you for sharing that, because I think we can forget the big picture. We can just be in what we're experiencing and have it be, I was thinking of Dr. Marilyn, what you shared, have it be a little more than a day. We can get stuck there and lose sight of the bigger picture. So I think that's such an important reminder, and what a powerful way to harness our energy as we are stepping out of that day of reaction and stepping into, okay, so where do I want to go? What do I want to be? And let's start building that. You can even do that during times of crisis. I love it. Thank you for sharing. And then, Dr. Marilyn, I wanted to circle back. And as you're reflecting on our conversation today and all that's been shared, do you have something additional that's coming to your heart that you would like people to know, either from your chapter, from the process of being part of this book, or even just your own experience in navigating challenging times? Do you have another piece of advice that you'd like to share with our listeners? Nope, Dr. Marilyn? Well, it looks like she might be muted, so I will come back. Dr. Sharon, I'd love to ask the same questions. You're reflecting back on what you shared and what's been shared. Is there something additional on your heart that you would like to add to the conversation as we're talking about crisis management, something to remind us or to add to our toolbox, or you just really think would be supportive of our listeners today?
Definitely. I would tell people just to remember, give yourself grace. So even if you have you're sad, you're crying, you're depressed, that it's okay. That you, like Dr. Marilyn was saying, you don't live in that moment, and you give yourself the permission to be human. That we all have feelings and emotions, but we just don't stay there. We continue to look forward, and we have that bigger picture in mind.
So important. I love that, being kind and giving ourselves grace. We can sometimes be our worst critics. And even when we're trying to sleep at night, we can be criticizing ourselves as we are laying our head down on the pillow, reflecting on the day, and to instead extend a grace and understanding and support is so powerful and can help us move forward. So I love that reminder to extend ourselves grace. Thinking what my grandmother used to say to me in the highs in life and the lows in life. She would always remind me to take care of her granddaughter, and that was me. And every conversation I had with her, every phone conversation, she would always end it saying, Rebecca, my health is very fragile. I can go at any time. And it was. And she said, so I want you to make me a promise. I'd say, yes, Grandma, feeling a little bit manipulated, but I loved her, so I said yes. And she goes, I want you to promise me to be extra kind and take care, great care of my granddaughter. And that was me. And I made that promise every single call. And one day it was our last call in conversation. And it has just stuck with me every time I try to criticize or beat myself up, or I'm finding I'm having that negative talk towards myself, and I'm facing unprecedented times, I'm facing challenges and growing. I'm able to hear her voice, and I'm able to remind myself in the highs and lows of life to pause, breathe, and treat myself kindly and with grace, just like I would my best friend. And I want to encourage you to do the same. I so appreciate that reminder, because we forget and we just move forward, and we can do so expecting ourselves to handle things we haven't handled before perfectly without failure, going back to some of what Dr. Cheryl said. And yet the sooner we can fail, learn from that, give ourselves grace, and get back up again and move forward. It's much easier to do that when we're kind to ourselves, we're cheering ourselves on, we are encouraging ourselves versus being harsh and critical. So I want to encourage everyone as we go to our next commercial break that you take a moment to pause, breathe, and how can you encourage yourself today? How can you be extra kind and give yourself grace? And we'll continue our conversation in just 2 minutes.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
The White House doctor makes house calls. Listen every week for House Calls with Dr. Connie Mariano. Dr. Connie has served as the White House physician under 3 U.S. presidents. Now, she joins the Voice America Empowerment Channel to help you enrich yourself physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Our guests will include professionals from a variety of fields who will bring you tips that you can apply to your own life. Listen for House Calls with Dr. Connie every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Empowerment Channel.
Rebecca Hall-Greider's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That's SpeakerTalentSearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall-Greider. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed those 2 minutes, that you gave yourself the opportunity to breathe, pause, reflect, receive all that serves. I hope that you came up with a way that you can positively, powerfully support you. How can you extend grace to you? Some of the things as I'm reflecting back on our conversation today, the being willing to fail faster so we can succeed sooner, adding that to the toolbox. What is possible? Adding that to the toolbox. Extending grace. Let's add that to the toolbox. Remembering that we can choose to grow even when change is thrust upon us. We can see that as an opportunity to grow, that that's optional, and that's one of the options we can choose. We can look at how we want to be, where we want to go, and reverse engineer that. It's okay to have that day, give yourself that day to process, to react to whatever way you need to express. Get those feelings, those emotions, but don't live there. Don't stay stuck there. It's that 24 hours, and then you choose to move forward. These are such valuable tips and insights, and we're just touching the surface on some of the powerful wisdom we can take with us from our amazing guests and this powerful book that is coming forward to be released on April 6th. I want to make sure everyone has that on your calendar. That special rate of $1.99 will be available the first 24 hours. I don't want anyone to miss out if this is pulling at you and it's calling at you to be able to add this volume and this wisdom and insight to your library for when, not if, when we face crises. We can do it in a way that we're supported. We can do it in a way where we can choose and discover how to thrive, not just survive. Bring the best of ourselves forward. And this book will help you do that. And our guests today have shared powerful insight and wisdom to help you do that and support you on your journey. And not only did we want to share how to add this book to your library when it's $1.99, so everyone likes a deal, you're able to get a deal, and add it to your library starting April 6th. But I also wanted you to be able to connect with our amazing experts, those that you felt a pull towards that you want to go deeper with. I wanted you to be able to do that and have a way to connect. So with that, I'm going to start with Dr. Marilyn. What is the best way for people to connect in with you and go deeper?
The best way to reach me is through email. It's usually always up, so I do see that quicker than I do anything else. So I can be reached at drmarylandthomascreate@gmail.com.
Perfect. Do you mind repeating it one more time, just so everyone gets a moment to write it down?
Dr., and it's Dr. Marilyn, Marilyn, Thomas, Thomas, create, CREATE, @gmail.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Dr. Marilyn. And Dr. Sharon, can you share the best way for people to connect and go deeper?
Yeah, email will also be best for me as well. And it's just Sharon Pugh, my first and last name, @gmail.com.
Okay, perfect. And do you mind spelling it out just for anyone who has the pen and paper ready? Mm-hmm.
It's Sharon, SharonPugh @gmail.com.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And Dr. Cheryl, what is the best way for people to connect and go deeper with you?
drcherylentz.com at gmail.com as well. So drcherylentz @gmail.com. The website's the same thing, just drcherylentz.com. So there you go. Easy peasy.
Perfect. I like that. Consistent and easy. We don't need things more difficult or confusing. Beautiful. Well, thank you all so much for sharing. I so appreciate making yourself available. And Dr. Cheryl, I wanted to circle back to you as well. Did you have a final tip or something on your heart as you're reflecting back? Because I know you were one of the opening parts of our conversation today. Did you have something you wanted to add to the conversation or remind our listeners of before they go back into the world?
Absolutely, and that's just something very, very simple, is keep showing up. 90% of life is just being there. I know we don't always like where we are and when we are, but we just got to keep being that we are, and eventually our circumstances will change. We just got to keep believing.
So good. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. And can you give the full title of the book so anyone looking on Amazon on April 6th has the full title?
Absolutely. It is The Refractive Thinker, Volume 20. It's Crisis Management, and we're looking at the art of what is possible as the foreword by General Casey.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you joining us today. And listeners, I hope that you've gotten some great insights to support you, to help add to your toolbox. So as crises come your way, you're getting to choose how to be and how to navigate them in a powerful and purposeful way. And I love this. Dr. Cheryl was sharing about showing up, and it just reminded me of one of my cats. Her name was Nina, and she used to have this special practice. Every time she came into a room, whether there were new people there or not, she'd make an entrance. So she didn't just like kind of slink into the room. She showed up on purpose. And with drama, she would pause at the opening of the door and just wait for you to notice her. And if you didn't notice her right away, she would chirp. She didn't meow, she chirped. So she would chirp to get your attention. And she'd wait for you to notice her. And when you did, and you saw her and you acknowledged her, then she went about her normal cat business. And I observed this for a while, and I thought, how interesting. None of my other cats have ever done that. And I wondered what it was like. So I got myself all dolled up one day, and understand I work from home a lot. And so my husband's never quite sure what he's going to come home to. He works outside of the home, and he doesn't know if I'm going to be wearing a cowboy hat. Am I going to have a facial thing going on? Am I going to be wearing a gown and be dolled up and wear everything sparkly that I own just because the day needed more sparkle? Like, he doesn't know. So he's kind of rolls with stuff. So I decided to doll myself all up after he came home, and he was downstairs and distracted doing his things. And so I walked down and I made an entrance, and I waited, and he didn't notice me. And I waited, and I waited, and I waited. Got his attention, and he looked up at me and he goes, "Oh, hi, honey." And he didn't, it's not the response I was going for. I said, "Don't I look great?" He said, "Yeah, honey, you look great." And I thought, well, he needs just a little bit more training like I needed from Nina. So I would do this periodically and show up, and it became fun. And it was like I was showing up on purpose. No matter what the day brought, I was showing up, and I was showing up purposely and powerfully, and I was bringing fun and power to it. And then one day he came up the stairs. He had his hat on, and he waited in the doorway. He made an entrance, and he waited. And I didn't notice. I was focused. And so he clears his throat, gets my attention. And I look, and he gives me a nod and tips his hat. He goes, "Hey, darling, don't I look great?" And I just laughed. And I thought, wow, it's contagious in a good way. And what fun we had showing up purposely and powerfully for each other and for ourselves. And then I even thought, what if I did that just for me? What if I showed up in the mirror in the morning, good morning, and I greeted myself and say, let's get the day started. I'm ready. I'm here. And I tried it, and it shifted all the energy for me. And that day as I went forth, I was purposeful, I was high energy, and I was able to face whatever came my way. So what if we started to build that into our life, not just when there's a crisis and there's a challenge, but we build it as a practice to show up purposely, to show up powerfully, to bring our uniqueness into our everyday life. Even when there are crises, even when there are challenges, what if we choose to give notice to the day that I have arrived, that you have arrived, that you are here, you are fully present, being who you want to be, showing up as you want to show up, crisis or not. You are building what you're called to build. As you get ready to go back out into the world today, I want to encourage you to take a moment, take a breath, and step forward, fully showing up, fully bringing the gift of you. Let the day know you have arrived. Let the day know what you stand for. Let the day know and let it ripple out what you want to bring forward, crisis or not, that you are choosing to show up, that you're choosing to bring all of you forward and to stand for what matters for you. wherever you go, whatever you do, that you are choosing to bloom where you're planted and shine. Have an amazing week, everyone. I'll look forward to talking to you next time.
Thank you for joining us this week for Empowering Women, Transforming Lives. Please tune in again for another edition with your host, Rebecca Hall-Griter, next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific, on the Voice America Empowerment Channel, with a replay on Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. Pacific on the Voice America Variety Channel. Have a beautiful week, and may you always bloom where you're planted and shine.